Summary: Fear itself is one of the rare anthology series that happens to grab the audience's attention. The episode Skin and Bones is the 8th episode of Season 1, and it captures the concept of a loner, selfish spirit Wendigo. It preys on the weak-willed and tends to have a taste for human flesh. The episode has excellent plot building and camera work. It is one of the episodes in the season that the audience could stand. The episode portrays a family that lives on a ranch, surrounded by deadly mountains and cold weather. The plot seems to have a bit of twist, and unspoken and unmentioned resentment. Plot: It is the story of a family that confronted Wendigo, an evil spirit, and some of the family members survived, while others became prey to Wendigo's spirit. The story revolves around the 6 main characters: Grady, Elena, Rowdy, Derek, Tim, and Eddie Bear. Grady is a farm owner and lives with his wife, Elena, his 2 sons, Derek and Tim, his brother Rowdy, and a Native American, Eddie Bear. The episode starts with a beautiful view of the snowy mountains afar and a stable where Derek, the elder son, was buckling up the horse while Tim was standing there. He wants to go into the mountains and find his father Grady, who went hunting in the cold mountains with his companions, whereas Elena and Rowdy stay back with the 2 children. The family has not received any news from the hunting party for 10 days, and they are perplexed about Grady and his companions. Rowdy comes rushing to the stable and asks Derek about what he's doing. Derek tells his uncle that he's going to find his father because the sheriff has stopped the search. Rowdy stops him from doing so because of the weather conditions. They both have a little argument, and Rowdy tells the boys that he will go find their father. In the next scene, Rowdy goes to Elena and tells her that he's heading back to find Grady. Then they both stand near the window and remember Grady. Elena tells him that Grady is not a good rider, as is Rowdy. While they stand there talking, Elena sees Grady coming towards the stable through the window. Rowdy runs towards Grady and calls Eddie Bear to help him. Derek also runs towards his father. Grady is in awful condition and has frostbites on his fingers and ears. His gait and condition show he's too weak and is in bad condition. The episode unfolds as in the next scene the whole family is in the house, discussing Grady's condition. Derek asks Tim to be ready for whatever happens to their father. At the same time, the doctor opens the door after checking up on Grady when Derek sees his father's face and hears his strange growl. The doctor tells the family that Grady's survival is a miracle and they need to keep him hydrated and feed him because he is too weak. When Elena asked the doctor if Grady had said something, he replied, yes, he said he's hungry. In the next scene, Derek is working at the stable when Rowdy tells him to take care of his little brother. Derek accuses Rowdy and says that his father has suffered losses and made up this ranch for him to work on. Rowdy tells him to keep his mouth shut when Derek punches Rowdy and tells him to take his mouth off his mother, accusing him of the affair with his mother. Rowdy keeps his cool and tells Derek to help his mother inside and also tells him that he knows less than he thinks he knows. When they're inside the house, Elena is preparing soup for Grady. Rowdy tells Elena that Derek wants to take the tray of soup to his father, to which Derek agrees. While Derek goes upstairs, Elena and Rowdy hug and have a little chat. Elena tells Rowdy that Grady seems a different person, and if he was not that fragile right now, she would strangle the light out of him. This shows that there has been some hidden story behind Grady, Elena, and Rowdy's relation, which has not been fully disclosed in the episode. While talking, they hear a noise from the room and run up to the room, where Derek tells his mother that his father, Grady, has knocked the tray from his hand. When Derek leaves the room, Elena tries to make Grady comfortable when Grady licks her arm with his black tongue and says that it tastes good. In the next scene, Rowdy is sleeping on the sofa when he hears the voices of horses from the stable. He runs to them and calls Eddie Bear. They both see a dead horse that has been killed. Eddie Bear looks through the window of the house and sees Grady standing there. In the morning, Eddie visits Grady to talk to him. He tells Grady a story about his uncle, who went missing and came back looking like Grady. Also, he said that his uncle tore his family apart. He takes out his knife and asks Grady to let go whatever has gone inside him. Grady gets up from the bed with his hands out and tells Eddie that it has already gotten him. He tells Eddie to put the knife away and lays down again. Eddie leaves, and in the next scene, tells Rowdy that his brother is a lot stronger than he thinks. He also tells him about the Wendigos that are the spirit of the lonely places and live in the cold mountains. They get inside the people when they're weak and starving. He tells Rowdy about his uncle, who was controlled by a Wendigo. His uncle killed animals and people and was killed by a sheriff. He also tells Rowdy that Wendigos stay hungry and angry, and he has seen the same happening to Grady. The scene changes, and Elena brings food to Grady, where he talks normally and tells Elena about what happened. He tells Elena that when he was alone in the cave, he heard a voice that said, "I will save you." Just let me in." He also tells Elena that the voice asked him to eat, and he had to eat his companion Jasper. Elena felt scared and tried to leave the room when he followed her with a steady motion and held her by her neck. Rowdy points a rifle at him and asks him to leave Elena. When Grady leaves Elena, she runs towards Rowdy. Grady makes a weird, horrifying noise and vanishes from the room in speed. The voice keeps on coming when Rowdy gathers the boys and they all run to save themselves. Grady keeps on throwing things in the house in a rage and follows them. Eddie Bear comes with an axe. While they are talking about what is happening, the voices stop, and Eddie tells them to go and save themselves. Eddie goes inside, and the voice is heard, which later shows that Eddie was killed by Grady. Rowdy leaves a rifle with the boys and asks Elena to tell the truth to the boys if he does not return back. Then he goes inside the house with another rifle and sees Eddie dying. Rowdy shouts Grady's name and goes to kill him. He sees blood and scratches all around the house. He sees Grady lying on the bed and asking for help. Rowdy tells him that he does not know how to help him. Grady says that this will work for his best, as Rowdy always wanted whatever he had. Rowdy looks at a childhood picture fallen on the floor and asks Grady to forgive him, when Grady gets up and kills him as well. As the episode moves to the climax, Elena takes the children and hides in the house, where Grady comes and makes Elena give her rifle to him by making her emotional. He then holds Rowdy with his hand and tells Elena that he has got dinner. He then takes Rowdy's body to the kitchen and makes Elena cook Rowdy's meat. He makes Elena cut out Rowdy's flesh, which she does because she wants to save her children. Then he asks her to cook it and then forces her to eat it as well. Meanwhile, Derek finds a rifle and bullets. While he was holding Elena by her collar in rage, she throws a ball in his head and Derek shoots him with the rifle. Elena falls down and Grady runs away from the house. Grady goes towards Tim and holds him above the ground when Tim bites his ear and Derek shoots him. Derek tells Tim that they need to take their mother to the doctor. He also tells him that Rowdy is dead and he is not their uncle. Meanwhile, Grady picks Derek above the ground and is about to eat him when Elena comes with a rifle and shoots him. Grady dies there and a strange voice is heard, which shows that the Wendigo spirit has left the body and is gone.